Being a New York Giants fan is like living in a haunted mansion, where every creak and shadow is a reminder of what once was. You used to be royalty, Bill Parcells pacing the sideline like a general, Lawrence Taylor striking fear into the hearts of quarterbacks, and 2 Super Bowls snatched from Tom Brady's hands in a way that felt like divine intervention. You tasted the impossible, pulled off miracles, and walked with legends. But those memories aren't just a warm blanket, they're chains. Eli Manning's heroics are now relics, and you cling to Tyree's helmet catch like it's a sacred artifact, a reminder of when the football god smiled on you. The Giants were more than a team. They were destiny in pads, a franchise that turned the impossible into tradition. And then you woke up. You told yourself Daniel Jones had that Manning poise. But every time he fumbles untouched or stares down a linebacker like he's trying to solve a math problem, that dream shatters. He was supposed to be the next great one, the next unflappable leader with ice in his veins. Instead, he's become the latest chapter in a tragic comedy, with his 2023 regression and 2024 injuries adding fresh wounds to an already painful narrative. The ghost of greatness hover over every player who walks into MetLife Stadium. You remember Phil Simms and his MVP performance, but now you watch quarterbacks who crumble under pressure. You remember Strahan and Tuck terrorizing offenses, but now your defense surrenders 400-plus yards regularly, making opposing quarterbacks look like Pro Bowlers each Sunday. As for the coaches, a carousel of chaos. Tom Coughlin's discipline, a man who could make time itself tremble, gave way to Ben McAdoo's hair gel and oversized suits. Pat Shurmur's deer-in-the-headlights look, and Joe Judge's military drills like a high school PE teacher who got a whistle for Christmas. Each one promised to fix the culture, but each left it in ruins. The Giants aren't just a team struggling to find its identity, they're a dynasty cursed to live in its own shadow. You don't cheer for the present, you mourn for the past. And the NFL never lets you forget. Every season opener, they play the highlights. Tyree's catch, Manningham's sideline dance, the impossible victories that mock you with their fading glory. You don't just love the Giants, you're haunted by them. Being a New York Giants fan means living through a tragic, unending search for a savior under center. The position that once gave you 2 miracle Super Bowls is now a cursed throne, a revolving door of false hope and broken promises. Daniel Jones was supposed to be the answer, the next Eli Manning, a poised, clutch leader who could return the Giants to glory. But instead of becoming a legend, he's become a tragic comedy in shoulder pads. The 2022 season teased you with possibilities, a playoff win, a contract extension, a future. Then 2023 arrived with his torn ACL, regression, and the crushing realization that the $160 million contract might be the organization's latest blunder. Jones can break an 80-yard run, then trip over his own feet. He can thread a perfect pass one moment and throw a soul-crushing interception the next. He's the human embodiment of almost. Almost clutch, almost elite, almost the answer. And that almost is a knife you twist in your own heart every Sunday. Before Jones, you watched Eli Manning's career become a Shakespearean tragedy, a hero who rose to the highest heights, only to decline in slow motion, throwing interceptions like they were holiday gifts. He went from Super Bowl MVP to a sad figure, ducking defensive linemen and staring down secondaries that read him like a children's book. The rogues gallery of backups only deepens the wound. Tyrod Taylor's brief flashes of competence in 2023, Tommy DeVito's 15 minutes of fame, Geno Smith's lone start that ended Eli's Iron Man streak. Each name represents not just a quarterback, but another failed attempt to find stability at the most important position. Meanwhile, the league mocks you. The Chiefs transitioned seamlessly from Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes. The Bengals drafted Joe Burrow and immediately reached the Super Bowl. The Lions found redemption with Jared Goff. But for the Giants, the quarterback position remains a mirage, always visible on the horizon, yet impossibly out of reach. Being a Giants fan isn't just about cheering for your team. It's enduring a masterclass in quarterback disappointment. You're not just hoping for greatness, you're begging for competence. The New York Giants coaching job isn't just a position, it's a cursed throne, a carousel of chaos where once promising leaders arrive with the visions of greatness and leave with shattered reputations. It wasn't always this way. Once you had Tom Coughlin, the iron-fisted general who turned discipline into championships. Coughlin's face was a weathered roadmap of stress and triumph, a man who turned 5 minutes early into a religion. Under him, you saw miracles, Tyree's helmet catch, Manningham's sideline dance, moments etched into NFL history. But even Coughlin couldn't escape the inevitable decline, his iron grip slipping as the team spiraled into mediocrity. Then came the parade of failed successors. Ben McAdoo arrived as an offensive wizard, but departed as a punchline. His tenure peaked with an 11-5 season, before collapsing under the weight of locker room chaos and the botched benching of Eli Manning. McAdoo wasn't just fired, he was exorcised, a name that still makes Giants fans wince. Pat Shurmur followed with all the charisma of a department store mannequin. His offense, supposedly his specialty, averaged a pitiful 19.4 points per game across 2 forgettable seasons. His sideline demeanor resembled a man who'd accidentally wandered onto the field and was too polite to leave. The true masterpiece of chaos was Joe Judge, whose 2021 press conference meltdown still echoes in Giants lore. The special teams guru who brought military drills and North Korea-style loyalty tests to East Rutherford. His crowning achievement? A quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from his own 5-yard line. A white flag disguised as a play call that perfectly captured his tenure's futility. Brian Daboll arrives in 2022 as the latest savior, and for one magical season, it seemed the curse might be broken. Coach of the Year honors, playoff victory, sideline passion, all the ingredients of a renaissance. Then 2023 happened, the regression, the blowouts, the return of the same old Giants. By 2024, the honeymoon was over. The innovative offense was now as predictable as a New Jersey traffic jam. The Giants don't just hire coaches, they break them. What begins with hope and promise inevitably ends with failure and scorn. Every coach arrives quoting Wellington Mara and leaves quoting their severance package. The Giants sideline isn't a destination, it's a way station, a brief stop on the journey to ESPN commentary or NFL coaching obscurity. Being a New York Giants fan means living with an offensive line that's less a protective unit and more a comedy of errors, except nobody's laughing. Since 2010, the Giants have drafted 23 offensive linemen, and the result has been the same: chaos, confusion, and quarterbacks running for their lives. Your offensive line isn't just bad, it's legendary in its incompetence. The 2023 unit allowed 85 quarterback hits and 63 sacks, turning Daniel Jones and backup quarterbacks to moving targets. First-round pick Evan Neal, selected 7th overall in 2022, has been outperformed by undrafted free agents across the league. His technique has been so problematic that the team has publicly discussed moving him to guard, the NFL equivalent of admitting a colossal mistake. The parade of failure stretches back years. Eric Flowers, the 9th overall pick in 2015, blocked like he was allergic to defensive linemen. He was supposed to be the cornerstone of the line, but he became a human turnstile. His name now a trigger word for Giants fans everywhere. Nate Soldier signed a $62 million contract in 2018, at the time the richest deal ever for an offensive lineman. What you got instead was a man who seemed to have an invisible bullseye on his chest. Defensive ends beat him so consistently that opposing teams would specifically target him in their game plans. Andrew Thomas stands as the lone success story, a rare flower growing in a concrete wasteland. But one competent lineman can't save a unit that's been the team's Achilles heel for over a decade. The 2024 unit continues the tradition of mediocrity, despite another offseason of promises and investments. Every August brings the same hollow optimism. We fixed the protection issues. We've emphasized physicality. This year will be different. Then September arrives, and reality crashes down like a blitzing linebacker. Your offensive line isn't a wall. It's a revolving door labeled, "Welcome, pass rushers." While the Eagles build trenches worthy of World War I, the Cowboys assemble great walls, and even the Commanders field respectable units. The Giants continue their tradition of matador blocking and penalty flags. It's not just a weakness, it's an identity. A weekly reminder that no matter who's under center, no matter who's calling plays, the foundation is built on quicksand. The New York Giants front office isn't just occasionally wrong. It's systematically, consistently, almost impressively incompetent. A graveyard of bad decisions, shattered dreams, and misguided rebuilds that never actually build anything. It starts with the draft, the annual ritual where Giants fans watch other teams select future Pro Bowlers while their team reaches for high-character guys with upside. The 2019 selection of Daniel Jones at 6th overall was met with immediate ridicule. ESPN's cameras watching a fan with his head in his hands, a moment that perfectly captured the collective fan reaction. While Jones has shown flashes, his selection over players like Josh Allen, Devin White, and Ed Oliver exemplifies the organization's perpetual struggle to accurately evaluate talent. The 2021 draft brought wide receiver Kadarius Toney at 20th overall, a player traded away just 17 months later after contributing a grand total of 0 touchdowns to the franchise. The 2022 selection of Evan Neal at 7th overall has become another cautionary tale, with the tackle struggling to maintain even baseline competency. Free agency has been equally disastrous. The 2021 signing of Kenny Golladay to a 4-year, $72 million contract stands as perhaps the worst in franchise history. Golladay delivered 43 catches and 1 touchdown over 2 seasons before being released, a $40 million mistake that hamstrung the team's salary cap for years. The organizational philosophy seems designed to maximize mediocrity. When they should rebuild, they reload. When they should be aggressive, they're conservative. The 2024 offseason exemplified this confusion, signing depth players to starter contracts while watching impact talent sign elsewhere. The general managers have changed, but the results remain the same. Jerry Reese built Super Bowl teams before his talent evaluation skills mysteriously vanished. Dave Gettleman arrived with his Hog Molly's obsession and computer folk wisdom, leaving behind a roster bereft of talent and bloated with bad contracts. Joe Schoen inherited the mess in 2022, and while the jury remains out, the early returns suggest another chapter in this same tired story. The Giants don't just make bad decisions, they make predictably bad decisions. When multiple options exist, they can be counted to choose the worst one with remarkable consistency. Other franchises rebuild, the Giants redecorate. Same structural problems, fresh coat of paint. And while owners John Mara and Steve Tisch continue to cash in on the NFL's exploding revenue streams, fans are left with a product that's been to the playoffs just twice in the past decade. A streak of futility that would have been unimaginable during the franchise's glory days. The NFC East isn't just a division, it's your personal hell. 4 teams locked in eternal combat, and as a Giants fan, you've been relegated to punching bag status. The 2023 season was a perfect encapsulation. 0-6 against divisional opponents, outscored by a combined 174-94. That's not competition, it's ritual sacrifice. The Philadelphia Eagles have transformed from longtime rival to big brother who delights in your suffering. The miracle at the Meadowlands wasn't just a fluke, it was foreshadowing. From Deshaun Jackson's punt return to Jake Elliott's 61-yard field goal, the Eagles have specialized in ripping your heart out in increasingly creative ways. Their fans don't just celebrate victories, they savor your misery. Flooding MetLife Stadium with midnight green and turning your home games into hostile territory. While the Giants have won just 2 Super Bowls since 1991, the Eagles have reached the big game 3 times in the past 6 years. They've built a modern, innovative organization while the Giants cling to faded traditions and outdated philosophies. The 48-22 and 38-7 drubbings in 2023 weren't just losses. They were evidence of a widening chasm between franchises heading in opposite directions. The Dallas Cowboys remain America's team, only in their marketing department, yet they still dominate the rivalry. Despite their own postseason disappointments, they've taken pleasure in stomping the Giants, winning 12 of the last 14 matchups. CeeDee Lamb treats your secondary like training cones. Dak Prescott builds his Pro Bowl resume against your defense. And Jerry Jones smirks from his luxury box as your team crumbles under primetime lights. The Washington Commanders, a franchise that has changed names, owners, and identities, somehow managed to save their best performances for Giants Week. Even in their darkest hours, they find ways to sweep the season series. Sam Howell, a quarterback who spent most of 2023 running for his life, suddenly transformed into Joe Montana when facing the Giants defense. The indignity peaks when these games are scheduled for primetime. The nation watches as your team becomes a footnote in someone else's highlight reel. Your suffering isn't private, it's broadcast in 4K resolution, dissected by analysts, and mocked on social media. While other divisions have punching bags that occasionally punch back, the Giants have settled into a role of divisional doormat with remarkable consistency. Being a Giants fan in the NFC East isn't just painful, it's purgatory, a hellish cycle where every September brings fresh hope, and every December delivers the same crushing realization. In a division of predators, you become the prey. Being a New York Giants fan isn't just tough, it's emotional masochism. You've seen the highest highs, miracle Super Bowl wins, which makes the current misery even worse. Your jersey collection is a timeline of heartbreak, a faded Eli Manning for nostalgia, a Lawrence Taylor throwback for greatness, and a Saquon Barkley jersey, a reminder of another star who couldn't save you. Maybe you even have a dusty Daniel Jones number 8, a $150 symbol of misplaced hope. Every season is a rerun, the same bad protection, the same empty talk of building the right way, and the same losses. Sundays aren't fun, they're a 3-hour test of endurance. Your football conversations are less X's and O's and more gallows of humor and draft talk. You know more about next year's college QBs than the playoffs. For you, Giants fandom isn't just a choice, it's a generational burden. Your parents or grandparents saw the glory days, Gifford, Parcells, Coughlin's miracles. But your stories are of chaos, blown picks, and wasted talent. And yet, you stay, through 5 and 12 seasons, fired coaches, and endless heartbreak. You keep watching, keep hoping. You're not just a fan, you're bound to the big blue, because despite the pain, a tiny part of you still whispers, maybe next year. But you know the truth. It rarely is.